Good morning. It's Saturday morning. Welcome back. Hope you've had a good week. This is day 5, I think, of the Christmas stories, because we've had 2 weekends, haven't we? So yeah, Saturday, Sunday. Let me show you a picture of Molly, because she is resplendent this morning in a lovely Christmas jumper. Bit of sparkle going on there. Yeah, can we see that lovely little penguin? And we've even got our feet warm down here in our warmy sheet, which I think probably came from Auntie Susan. That seems like an Auntie Susan present. Our hot chocolate this morning is unbelievably hot, which I guess is what hot chocolate should be.
Yeah.
But it is a little bit.
But you can see Daddy's steaming.
But it is a little bit super hot, kind of like my one. We've got salted caramel going on here today. That doesn't look particularly attractive, but it is jolly yummy. And as usual, Squirty, actually I'll take your lid off because it's really, really hot.
Okay.
If you want to hold that, and I'll take the hot chocolate lid off. You show the toys, because we've got the reindeer, we've got Father Christmas, we've got the penguin, and the gingerbread man.
And we've got the robin flying.
Yes, you've kind of deliberately put the robin so that he's kind of like fluttering above there. So yeah, good. Oh, we haven't got Christmas lights on yet.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Christmas lights. Right, what have we got story-wise? Not quite so long this week. Last week was a bit long, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The Sunday one was about 40 odd minutes long. So we have got, what stories today? We had a Peter Rabbit story last week, so we're having another short Peter Rabbit story. Peter Rabbit's A Winter's Tale. You've got all of the fairy tale hairdresser stories, haven't you? Have you got every single one? Yeah. And this is the fairy tale hairdresser and Father Christmas. You like the fairy tale stories? Oh, the fairy tale hairdresser stories. We have got Father Christmas on the Naughty Step. Can't really remember that one. I think it's funny. I think it looks like it's going to be funny.
Story.
Yeah. And what I'm trying to do is, I was looking through all the stories this morning. Some are super, super long. So what I was thinking, perhaps in the week run up to Christmas, we perhaps do maybe kind of like one a night, but make it a kind of like just one longer story rather than the kind of like these shorter stories on a Saturday. But we'll make that perhaps the week run up to Christmas, because we have got some lovely stories, but they're just a little bit too long for this. So, and I had a lovely one this morning about a snow angel that kind of like came.
Oh, yeah,
So yeah, so it's beautiful pictures. So we'll perhaps have that in the week run up to Christmas, because as I say, there's a couple that are a bit too long. But this final one today, Christmas on Exeter Street, which I think, Christmas in Exeter Street. So we'll perhaps start with that one. So if you're cool with that, Squirtle,
that's fine.
we will start with that one. Right, Christmas in Exeter Street. It kind of it's a bit of an old-fashioned kind of like look here, but it's a lovely story. Christmas in Exeter Street. The day before Christmas Eve, Ben and Jane's grandma and grandpa came to stay at the house in Exeter Street. It was a lovely old house with big friendly windows, a holly wreath on the front door, and 3 chimney pots shaped like the crowns of the 3 wise men. Grandpa George was a tall old sailor who came in his sea boots. Grandma Ginny came with her knitting and her 3 cats, 1, 2 and 3. Wherever Grandma Ginny went with her knitting her knitting needles went in and out and under her elbows, and 1, 2, 3 followed along behind her. Grandpa George and Grandma Ginny brought a Christmas tree. Ben and Jane's mother, Mrs. Maggie Mistletoe, showed Grandpa George and Grandma Ginny where they need to sleep. She'd given them the best spare bedroom. This had a big 4-poster bed in it, and Grandpa George parked his sea boots under it, and the 3 cats jumped onto the bed and curled up together. Ben and Jane's other grandma and grandpa also came to the house in Exeter Street. They were small and skinny and wore their best hats, a woolly bobble hat for Grandpa Angus and a beret with stars in it for Grandma Fanny. Grandma Fanny brought a jar of her special cranberry jelly. Grandpa Angus and Grandma Fanny were given the second best spare bedroom. This had a small iron bedstead in it. Grandma Fanny said, "This bed is just the right size for 2 skinnies like us. We can snuggle up together." Grandpa Angus hung his bobble hat on one knob of the bed, and Grandma Fanny hung her star-spangled beret on the other knob of the bed. Ben and Jane's friend, Amelia, Annie and Amos, arrived on Christmas Eve. Their parents had gone to Timbuktu on very important business, and so they came to spend Christmas at the house in Exeter Street. Amelia brought a basket of presents. Annie brought a big Christmas pudding, and Amos, who was only 3, brought his cuddly blanket, and it trailed along behind him like a long, long tail. Mrs. Mistletoe took Amelia, Annie and Amos up the stairs to the attic, and there they found 5 beds. 2 bunk beds, one for Ben and one for Amos, 2 mattresses on the floor for Jane and Annie, and 1 camp bed with wobbly legs for Amelia. "Mind you all hang up your Christmas stockings," said Mrs. Mistletoe. Amos climbed up and down the ladder to the top bunk, trailing his blankie behind him. Just after supper, an unexpected uncle arrived. It was Uncle Bartholomew, back from Australia. Mrs. Mistletoe made up a bed for him on the sofa in front of the fire. This was just right for Uncle Bartholomew. Because it had been very hot in Australia, he was feeling very chilly. He was so cold he couldn't take off his mittens. Uncle Bartholomew brought a great box of Australian Delight, which was like Turkish Delight, only nicer. Never heard of that. Australian Delight, I like a bit of Turkish Delight then. The next to arrive was Mrs. Mistletoe's friend Lily, who had nowhere to live, and with Lily came Lily's baby, Lily Lou. Lily slept on the small sofa in the playroom, which had been bounced on so often it had a very small sagging shape. But this didn't matter because so was Lily. Well, she had a sagging shape, did she? Right, because so was Lily. Lily brought home Christmas hats, each with a star glued on them. The kitchen sink was dried out very carefully, then lined with blankets, and Lily Lou slept in there. Mrs. Mistletoe hung Lily Lou's stocking over the tap. Lily Lou brought her smile. That can't be very comfy. When I was growing up, I used to have a bath in the sink. Did that when I was Grandma and Grandpa. Christmas Eve was very stormy and the vicar's roof blew off, so he and his wife and their 4 children all came to the house in Exeter Street. "Is there any room in the inn?" asked the vicar, and Mrs. Mistletoe said yes, there was. "We brought you a carol," said the vicar, and they all stood on the doorstep and sang "Away in a Manger." A bed was made up for the vicar and his wife in the bath, and a lot of cushions were piled up in the corridor for the 4 children.
His roof blew off.
Yeah, it's not very likely, is it? That was quite windy then. His entire roof blew off. By this time, there was quite a lot of noise in the house in Exeter Street, and the children next door, Thomas, Tessa and Timothy, came to join the party. They came in their pyjamas, and they brought their sleeping bags and their Christmas stockings, and they made up a camp in the study. At 9 o'clock, 5 aunts came from Abingdon, bringing them with a big turkey and their 3 Pekingese dogs. The aunts, Catherine, Clara, Christabel, Clothida and Christina, Clothida, never heard that name, Clothida and Christina, were very thin ladies, so each of them was given a shelf on the dresser in the kitchen and tucked up tightly between the plates and the dangling cups. That's a health and safety madness going on there. That's never going to be allowed, is it? On the shelves. The Pekingese dogs were packed into shopping baskets and tucked in with dolls' blankets kindly provided by Jane. At midnight, 2 fat men knocked at the door and asked for a bed for the night because their car had broken down. Each was given a mantelpiece. The first fat man said, "Please can our wives come in and we'll all squash up together on the mantelpiece." The mantelpiece. This is madness. This is madness. Right.
Yeah, it's quite normal for a car to break down, but a whole roof coming off.
Yeah, a whole roof coming off and sleeping on a mantelpiece and shelves is just wrong. But the wives were very fat too. This is quite fattest, this. There's thin people and fat people. But the wives were very fat too, and Mrs. Mistletoe said she didn't really think 2 people could fit onto one mantelpiece. I'm not entirely sure 1 could fit on there, to be honest, but 2. "I have 2 large windowsills to spare," she said. "Would you like to curl up there?" And the wives said, "Yes, please." And there was a corner for the 5 children who were still in the car. Oh, there's another 5 children there. Right, okay, not just the fat mum and dad. Mrs. Mistletoe gave a small sigh and said that if Jane and Annie came into her bed, then the 5 children could sleep on the 2 mattresses in the attic. The car children brought an enormous box of crackers. What did it say? Dear Father Christmas, there are 18 children here. Please don't forget anyone. Love, Maggie Mistletoe. P.S. Lily Lou is in the kitchen sink. When everyone was safely tucked up in bed, Mrs. Mistletoe counted the number of children asleep in the house in Exeter Street, and then she wrote a note for Father Christmas and pinned it on the door. No sooner had Mrs. Mistletoe got into bed with Jane and Annie than she heard the sound of crying at the front door. She crept down the stairs and looked outside, and there on the mat was a small black cat. He brought his snow-white paws. The small black cat slipped inside and found the room where Uncle Bartholomew was asleep on the sofa, dreaming about kangaroos. The small black cat sniffed Uncle Bartholomew and curled up at his feet. The last person to arrive at the house in Exeter Street had a lot of trouble with his arithmetic. Father Christmas had to take off his boots and count on his toes to make sure he'd remembered all 18 children. And he had even Lily Lou, who's in the sink. Oh, and there we've got a picture of everybody. So we've got all the 5 children in the attic, 3 children in bed there.
Some people in the bath.
Well, we got the kind of like the these are the ones that intrigue me most. We got the kind of like the 5 aunts on the shelf. That's just that's wrong. Lily Lou. I'm more comfortable with Lily Lou in the sink than I am with the 5 aunts there.
Yeah, because it might fall out, and then Lily Lou's probably not going to fall out.
Exactly, and we got the fat man from the car. Where's the vicar? Oh, they're on that's the wives of the fat man, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
It's all very wrong. It's all very wrong. On Christmas Day morning, they took Lily Lou out of the sink, and Mrs. Mistletoe and Jane and Grandpa George peeled a whole sack of potatoes, and then they all had a splendid Christmas dinner. They ate the Abingdon Aunt's turkey with Grandma Fanny's cranberry jelly, and afterwards they had Annie's Christmas pudding. They all wore Lily's Christmas hats, except for Amos, who wore his blankie tied around his head because he felt happiest that way. And they pulled the car children's crackers, and when dinner was over, they sat round the fire and ate Uncle Bartholomew's Australian delight, and it was like eating sunshine.
That is a lot of people.
That is a lot of people. It's never going to be allowed this year, I'm afraid. Don't think Boris is going to allow that. Everyone agreed that the house in Exeter Street was the best place of all to be at Christmas time. The little black cat, curled up in Mrs. Mistletoe's lap, thought he might stay until next Christmas, and Lily Lou, snuggled up in Uncle Bartholomew's arms, waved her little curly fingers at the Christmas tree, and smiled, and smiled, and smiled. That was a lot of people in one house.
Yeah.
Christmas in Exeter Street. Right, I think
That's
hot
quite a
chocolate.
long
My hot chocolate might be alright. Still hot. I'm guessing yours is even hotter because yours had a lid on.
Yes.
Yes, too blinking hot. Right, let's do Peter Rabbit next. You might need to get in close for this one because it's not very big, but pretty pictures. And I think this, rather than being a Peter Rabbit book of its own, it's from so Beatrix Potter wrote lots of books. I think you've got a set of all the Beatrix Potter books, I think, in your room. I think that might have been Auntie Susan as well, or Auntie Jill. But Beatrix Potter wrote loads of stories, one of which was The Tale of Mr. Todd, and this is a kind of like an excerpt from The Tale of Mr. Todd, I think, but it's nice pictures. Underneath the root of the biggest fir tree in the forest was a sandy burrow. Peter Rabbit lived there with his mother and sisters. One wintry afternoon, Mrs. Rabbit sent Peter out to collect firewood. "Stay close to home, dear," she said, "and look out for Mr. Todd." Peter nodded and ran off into the forest. I think Mr. Todd is a fox, from what I can remember. Among the trees, Peter met his cousin Benjamin, walking with his father, old Mr. Benjamin Bunny. "Can I help Peter collect firewood, father?" Benjamin asked. "Very well," said old Mr. Bunny, "but don't stray too far. They say Mr. Todd is about." Needless to say, neither Peter nor Benjamin paid any attention to their parents' advice. Soon they were deep into the forest. Up on the wintry slopes, rabbits were sledging. "That looks fun," said Peter. "Let's join them," said Benjamin. "We can collect firewood later." Peter and Benjamin threw snowballs, made icy slides, and then had a ride on the sledge.
Or maybe it's a wolf.
Could be.
Probably not.
Or maybe it's a badger. No, he's Mr. Brock. The sledge went a bit too fast and Peter and Benjamin landed in a heap at the bottom of the hill. "Hey, watch where you're going," said a grumpy voice. It was Tommy Brock, the badger. He carried a sack over his shoulder and something inside it was moving about furiously. "What have you got in there, Mr. Brock?" asked Peter. "That's none of your business, little rabbit," said Tommy Brock. "You just want to watch out for that old rogue fox, Mr. Todd."
Okay.
To the fox. There we go. Peter and Benjamin were thinking of turning back when they met Mrs. Tittlemouse. She seemed quite upset. "Why, Mrs. Tittlemouse, whatever is the matter?" asked Peter. "My babies have gone," she sobbed. "Someone has taken them." "Tommy Brock!" cried Peter and Benjamin together. "So that's what he had in his sack," said Benjamin. "Don't worry, Mrs. Tittlemouse, we'll find your babies." Was he stolen their... I didn't realise it was such a disturbing story. He's stolen their babies. Peter and Benjamin scampered quickly along the track that Tommy Brock had taken. Soon they met two gentlemen rabbits out for a stroll. "Please, sirs," asked Peter politely, "have you seen Tommy Brock?" "Why, yes," replied one of the gentlemen. "We just passed him. He was having an argument with the gamekeeper cat over there." "But do take care, little rabbits," said the other gentleman. "Tommy Brock may not be a danger to you, but Mr. Todd is out and about today." "We're not afraid of Mr. Todd," said Benjamin, and they set off. "Mr. Cat, do you know where Tommy Brock went?" asked Peter. "If I were you, I wouldn't give the time of day to that thieving old badger," scoffed the gamekeeper cat. "But since you ask, he went up to his house among those trees, by the way," said the cat. "I think someone's following you." "Oh, no, sorry. By the way," said the cat, "I think someone's following you." Peter and Benjamin looked back along the path. There was no one there, and all was silent in the still white forest. Peter and Benjamin crept into the trees by Tommy Brock's house and hid in the thick undergrowth. Tommy had just reached his front door when he heard a faint rustling and sensed he was being watched. "Those pesky rabbits must have followed me," Tommy Brock snorted as he rested his sack on the cold ground, and he got ready to pounce. Nearby, Mr. Todd wrinkled his nose. He could hear something moving, and he could smell rabbit. He got ready to pounce. With a great roar, Mr. Todd and Tommy Brock both jumped forward, but instead of catching two frightened rabbits, they found themselves face to face with an unexpected enemy. There was a terrible howling and snarling. "Time to go," whispered Peter Rabbit. He and Benjamin grabbed the sack between them. They scampered away, slipping and sliding down the hill. Tommy Brock and Mr. Todd glared at each other. Around them the wind blew and the snow swirled, and they peered at the little rabbits running away towards the distant light. "Well, I think we've lost them," Tommy Brock said. "It's a freezing night. Why don't you come inside for a glass of my dandelion ale?" Mr. Todd gazed at the black shadowy trees. "You know," he said, "I don't mind if I do." And so the two old enemies shook hands and went together into Tommy Brock's den. The little rabbits didn't stop until they came to the place where Mrs. Tittlemouse was waiting. They opened the sack and the baby mice tumbled out, rather shaken, but otherwise unharmed. "Oh, how can I ever thank you?" cried Mrs. Tittlemouse. "You were so brave going into the forest to rescue my babies. It must have been very frightening." "It was nothing," gasped Peter. "We should go now," panted Benjamin. "My father will be getting cross, and that is very frightening." The little rabbits ran all the way back to the big fir tree. Two anxious figures were waiting at the entrance to the burrow. "Peter, Benjamin, where have you been? And where's the firewood you were supposed to collect?" scolded old Mr. Bunny. Mrs. Rabbit was so pleased to see the two little bunnies she forgot to be angry. "At least you're safe and sound, and thank goodness you didn't see Mr. Todd." Peter and Benjamin smiled at each other knowingly. She turned to old Mr. Bunny and said, "It's such a cold night. Why don't you and Benjamin come in for a cup of chamomile tea and a slice of my best plum cake?" So the rabbits went into the warm, cosy burrow and ate and drank and laughed until it was time for bed. And there we are. That's a nice picture. And that was Peter Rabbit in A Winter's Tale. I didn't realise it was so disturbing. I want to save people and run away from foxes and badgers. Right, do we need a slurp? Let me hold that while we have a slurp. So we got a busy day today. Not quite as busy as because we finished making your bed last weekend, didn't we? But this weekend we said, right, it's no jobs. It's we're having a crafting weekend. So can you think of all the crafting things we're doing?
We're gonna do this wait, are we doing that cross stitch?
We're gonna we've got some cross stitch to do. I don't know how I'll get on with cross stitch. I like the idea of it, but kind of we suppose some stuff we got in Hobbycraft, wasn't it? So it's Snowman and Snow Dog cross stitch.
And we're gonna do this painting of like trees, but you do it as paint and
oh yes,
and
with the string.
Yeah, and string to put paint on it, and then pull it across to make perfect trees. And paint doesn't really come out that well, so it does little holes and that's how those white trees are.
Can you totally remember how to do it? I've still got it on the planner. We can learn how to do it.
Properly remember it, but
it was I think it was we needed to get a little saucer of white paint and dip string in it and then drag it across from that. I think I can remember, but we did. I guess we had to do what I didn't. We had to do the paper first. We might watch it again. It's only about 2 or 3 minutes long.
And
so
we
that.
might do a little branch, and then with some paint
Was that with the feathers?
Oh yeah, robin balloons. So you have some balloons.
Oh
and then,
yes.
dip it into some paint, and then do that for everyone.
Have we got the paint? Have we got a red and a brown and a white?
I'm not sure.
Okay, I'm sure we probably have.
And then you had eyes and a beak and stuff.
Yeah.
And no, first when we saw it on the video, just doing all this project, it didn't really look like robins. But when it finished, it looked with the eyes and the beak and the leg and the little legs and stuff.
Yeah, we couldn't really see where they were going with it, and it looks really good.
Yeah.
So we'll do that, and if we get a chance as well, I think I'd quite like to see that we've got some lanterns to make as well.
Oh yeah,
so
about those, yeah.
And I think we've even got some more kind of crafting little sort of tasks as well. Because I want to do that bauble as well. Maybe that bauble.
Oh yeah.
Okay, right, let's crack on. But tomorrow, if it all goes well, we'll bring along some of the things that we've done today, so we can sort of show.
Yeah,
and if it all goes rubbish, we won't show anything.
And we might do. Wait, was it you bought that little gingerbread house that I could paint or something?
Yes. Oh, the kind of the the cardboardy one. Yes. Yeah. No, that's it. We can. Crikey, we've got a lot of things to do.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let me hand that back to you, and we'll do these last 2 stories. Right. Still recording, is it? Yep. So let's do Fairy Tale Hairdresser and Father Christmas.
Okay.
The Fairy Tale Hairdresser. So Kitty Lacey was the best hairdresser in all the land. Her salon was busy all year round, but the busiest time was Christmas Eve. So you've got all of these. So you've got the Cat and Fiddle Music Shop, Red's Rides, that's Red, Little Red Riding Hood, I guess. The Big Bad Wolf's Opticians, Goldie Locks, which is the locksmith, and Kitty's Cuts. So this is Kitty Lacey. Everyone wanted to look their best for the Christmas Day party. Kitty spent all morning washing feathers, decorating fairy wings, and styling Jack Frost. Jack was so warm-hearted that in return he always spent ages carefully dressing the windows of the salon ready for Christmas Day. "That's lovely, Jack," said Kitty. "Your patterns are so beautiful." "Thanks," said Jack. "Winter is my favourite time of year." Kitty loved Christmas, but winter was so cold. She had to wrap herself up warm for a very important afternoon appointment, a home visit to the house of someone very special. Father Christmas. It was Kitty's job to get the whole team ready. One by one, she gave them a lovely Christmas look. So, mainly putting hollies and baubles and, got it all going on. But just as she finished the 4th elf, Kitty noticed something. One elf was missing. "Where's Crystal?" asked Kitty. "I haven't done her hair yet." They hunted high and low for Crystal, but they couldn't find her anywhere. "Let's try the gift room," said Father Christmas. "Maybe she's loading up one last present." Father Christmas unlocked the door and... Oh, they're all looking a bit... "Oh no!" cried Kitty. All the Christmas presents were gone, and right in the middle of the floor was a huge block of ice, and inside was poor Crystal. As quickly as she could, Kitty pulled her hairdryer from her bag, and she set it to full blast, and the ice soon melted away. "The little Snow Queen," chattered Crystal in between her shivers. She took all the presents." "Oh, that Snow Queen. She has a heart of ice," said Father Christmas. "What are we going to do?" asked Holly. "We're running out of time," said Nutmeg. "The sun is setting." Jingle pointed at the window. The little elf burst into tears. Now, said Father Christmas. "Everyone calm down. I'm going to get those presents back." "And I'll help you," said Kitty bravely. Kitty and Father Christmas dashed outside to the sleigh. "Rudolph," Father Christmas cried, "let's fly." Fairyland looked so beautiful from up above. Kitty could see for miles and miles. "Look," she gasped as a large shape appeared in the distance. It was the Ice Palace, home of the Snow Queen. The sleigh landed in the icy gardens. Kitty and Father Christmas dashed past the frosty roses, over the frozen moat, and into the palace. "There's the Snow Queen," cried Kitty, "and she's locked the presents behind ice bars." "Give those presents back," said Father Christmas sternly, "or I'll put you on my naughty list." "No!" screamed the Snow Queen. "I'll never give them back." She held up her wand, ready to blast them with an icy ray. "Stop!" shouted Father Christmas. Kitty stepped forward. "Why are you being so mean?" she asked. "Because everyone is mean to me," said the Snow Queen. "I'm never invited to the Christmas party, and I spend every Christmas day on my own." "Well, you need to be kinder," said Father Christmas. "Christmas is about friendship and sharing." The Snow Queen burst into tears. "But I don't have any friends," she sobbed. Kitty held out her hand. "I'll be your friend," she said. "You can come to the party with me." And at Kitty's kind words, the Queen's icy heart melted. "I'm so sorry I stole the presents," she said, and she lifted her wand and whoosh, the ice bars disappeared. "But have I ruined Christmas for everyone?" "I think there's still time to deliver all the presents," said Father Christmas, loading them into his magic sack. "We'll help you," said Kitty and the Snow Queen together. Then they ran out to the waiting sleigh, and in no time at all they were on their way. They raced through the night as fast as they could, visiting house after house across all of Fairyland. Yeah. Oh, is that that's that Goldilocks and Three Bears? That must be a wolf. So is that Red Riding Hood, I guess?
Yeah, that's Red Riding Hood.
Yeah. Don't know what that one is.
Yeah.
It's a hospital-y one. I don't know. They worked so speedily that there was even time for the Snow Queen to choose the perfect style for the Christmas party. Now, you've always got a favourite outfit.
Yeah.
Which is your favourite outfit out of those?
Probably that one because I kind of like bunches and I like that hairstyle.
Yeah, it's funky. The Snow Queen gave Kitty a hug. "I can't wait for Christmas now," she said. On Christmas morning, everyone gathered at the town hall to open their presents. "Oh, lovely!" cried Sleeping Beauty, unwrapping her pillow. "Thank you, Father Christmas," said Hansel, munching his chocolates. "Hooray!" The gingerbread man put on his new trainers. "Woohoo!" Red Riding Hood loved her new helmet. Where's Red Riding Hood then?
There. That one.
Oh, there, I'm over here. Right, okay. Cool. Oh, it's nice and glittery. The Snow Queen's present was a pair of shiny skates, and on the ice she made a brand new friend. Someone who loved the cold just as much as she did. Jack Frost. Then Father Christmas gave a special present to the hardest working hairdresser in all the land. "We thought you deserved a holiday," he chuckled. 3 cheers for Kitty Lacey, and a very Merry Christmas to you all. Alright, so it's a round the world ticket on Aladdin's Magic Carpet Travel.
Oh yeah, there is that book.
Oh, right, yes, right. Have we got that one?
Oh yes.
Have we got all of these ones? So what? I can't see
yes,
that. That looks like it's Rapunzel,
Cinderella,
Sleeping Beauty, and Snow White.
Yep,
we got all of those, have we? Why does that not surprise me? Right, finally, Father Christmas and the Naughty Step. And then we start our crafting day. Right, I've held on to a lot of the kind of like sort of, so for nearer Christmas we've got even more
really
Christmassy
short.
one, but this one's quite short. Today was Christmas Eve and Sam could have been doing any number of lovely things. He could have been making something yummy with his big sister Nellie, or helping Rover with a last-minute letter to Santa, or just daydreaming with Dad about all the wonderfully Christmassy things to come. But Sam wasn't doing any of those lovely things. Sam was sitting all by himself on the naughty step until the naughty step gave a familiar creak, and shiver me timbers, down sat someone who'd sat there a zillion times before. Have you been naughty again? Sighed Santa. Sighed Sam. Not Santa. Sighed Sam. Captain Buckleboots gave a woeful nod. Oh, Sam, he said, I told the most terrible lie. Then he held up a letter for Sam to see. Dear Santa, even though it might sound odd, my shipmates definitely do not want any Christmas presents this year, so can I please have theirs? Many thanks, Captain Buckleboots. Oh dear, said Sam, I can't imagine anything naughtier. But just then, high above their heads came the jingle-jangle of bells and a flurry of snow. Oh, we enjoyed the film Jingle Jangle last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
And shiver me tinsels, down sat Father Christmas. Santa, gasped Sam, it's Christmas Eve. Shouldn't you be getting ready to deliver lots of Christmas presents? Father Christmas gave a shameful sigh and shuffled nervously on the naughty step. Yes, he said, but I've been bad, where I should have been good. Then they saw it, dear oh dear, Santa's name right at the top of the naughty list. Alongside Father Christmas, Sir Fight-a-Lot, Badbury Broad, Miss Pesky Peacock, Big Paws McGraw, and Little Miss Temper Tantrum.
At least none of those are me.
Exactly. It all began this morning, explained Santa. I took something that clearly did not belong to me, and even though I knew I shouldn't, well, I did. So it's kind of like, is it a sledge? Is that like a sledge one?
No, it's just a train base
Right, okay.
going down on it.
Stop! Cried the elves as I hurtled out the workshop. Stop! Neighed the reindeer as I sped down the hill. But blistering baubles, I could not stop. Crash! Bang! Wallop! And suddenly everything was everywhere, and to make matters worse, I started to laugh. But ho-hum, not everyone found it quite so funny. Now, sighed Santa, all I really want for Christmas is to be forgiven, but I don't know how. For a moment, a sorrowful hush fell over the naughty step. Then Sam had a wonderful idea. If you really want to be forgiven, said Sam, you'll have to show you're really sorry. First, you'll need to pick up all the presents for the reindeer. Then you'll have to help the elves reload the sleigh. And last but not least, you must promise never to do it again. Shivering snowflakes, said Father Christmas. That's exactly what I'll do. Just then, Sam's mum called out from the kitchen, You can get off the naughty step now. And off they all went to say a heartfelt and very seasonal sorry. Sorry, me hearties, said Captain Buckleboots. Sorry, said Sam, oh so sweetly. And the next morning, not only did Sam find lots of presents under the tree, but also a most surprising apology. To Sam, I'm sorry I took your new train before you'd even had a chance to play with it. Next time, I promise to ask first. Have a Merry Christmas and be good. Love, Santa. So, despite Christmas getting off to a bit of a bad start, in the end, a very happy Christmas was had by all.
Why is that pants?
Because traditionally, dads from Father Christmas get lots of pants and socks. I don't generally I tend to buy my own pants and socks. But when I was growing up, it was pants and socks were quite a standard thing, generally from Marks and Spencer's. But I don't mind my pants and socks from Marks and Spencer's anymore. But we won't go down that route. Cool. I think we're done. Let me turn it back because people don't want to see me. So as I said, we've got lots of crafting to do today. So we'll crack on with our crafting day. And then Mummy and Daddy, we've got wine tasting this evening. Virtual wine tasting with lots of our friends.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're still here. It's just that we're trying out some wines. So I need to go along to Crew Wines later on to pick up our wines. So we've got hot chocolate to drink. There's Molly's. You can't really see how pink it is, but it is. If I bring it into the light, it's very, very pink. Very pink. And Daddy's salted caramel. It looks disgusting, but tastes yummy. So a goodbye from the reindeer, from Santa, from the flying robin, the penguin, the gingerbread man, and from McSquirtle. We will see you with our crafting stuff tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.